I want to welcome you to tonight's City Council meeting for the City of Columbia Heights for Tuesday, May 26, 2020. And could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Buesgens. Here. Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Buesgens.
Here.
Councilmember Vitsky.
Here.
Mayor Schmidt.
Here. If you are able, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll read our mission statement. Our mission is to provide the highest quality public services. Services will be provided in a fair, respectful, and professional manner that effectively address changing citizen and community needs in a fiscally responsible manner. Next item is the approval of the agenda. If there are no additions or corrections to the agenda, can I get a motion to approve it as submitted? Motion by Councilmember Buesgens, second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And then, Kelly, we have the, could you read the?
I have two items I want to pull, B and C.
Oh, okay. It was B
Yep, B and C.
and C. Okay. Is there anything else that anybody else wants to know?
No.
All right. Great.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The consent agenda this evening, item A is approval of the minutes from the city council work session of May 4th and approval of the minutes of the city council meeting of May 11th. Items B and C have been removed. Item D is consideration of approval of the attached list of rental housing applications. Item E is approval of the business licenses that are in your packet, and item F is a review of the bills totaling $884,686.95.
Okay. With the exception of items B and C, can I get a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Buesgens and second by Councilmember Nowinski. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And then proceed with item B, the resolution approving parking stall lease agreement with Fairview Health Services for municipal ramp located at 4011 Van Buren Street. What is your question?
I had some questions. I know we had talked about this at our last work session, and I was hoping we could go a little higher than $20 a month, maybe to 30, because, I mean, what is the parking rate downtown Minneapolis is way higher, and to me, $20 is cheap, and I would like, I was interested in trying to earn some money that could help cover the cost of maintenance on this building. Were they not open to 30 or?
So, Madam Mayor, members of the council, good questions, Councilmember Buesgens, and unfortunately in this contract negotiation, the city is not in a great position of leverage. We don't have a lot of strings to pull short of closing the ramp, and I think when staff reviewed the proposed structure, we found it fair by a number of metrics, and a comparison to the downtown ramp we thought certainly wasn't a fair way of looking at it from Fairview's perspective. We did enlist a couple of engineering firms and requested quotes to have them complete a survey of similar ramps and pricing, and they both declined and said that there wasn't enough comparative properties in their opinion to complete it for us. When we looked at the cost assessment, so looked at it from a 5-year time horizon as far as what the city had been paying over the last 5 years under the agreement that had expired. Under that agreement, the city was paying for 40% of the annual operation and maintenance costs, and we would reimburse Fairview for those costs. The 5-year average cost over the last 5 years was $36,000 a year, and Fairview is proposing to pay $31,200 each year. So over the last 5 years, we averaged about $36,000 in operations and maintenance, and we were paying for 40% of that. So about $14,400 a year. If we continue with a similar average of about $36,000 a year, the city's contribution would reduce to around $5,000 from where it was previously.
But that doesn't include isn't it $635,000 worth of repairs that need to be done in the next 5 years?
Right, so we also completed an assessment of capital improvements with the engineering firm a couple of years ago. And they proposed a 5-year maintenance plan that is in excess of $600,000. Fairview has agreed to contribute $91,500 towards those capital improvement costs.
But we're still stuck with the bulk of it.
Right, and we have the ability with decreased operations and maintenance costs to put that money now into capital improvements, as well as the current revenue stream for this maintenance of both the ramps, including the ramp that we intend to tear down, has been the lease revenue from the T-Mobile rooftop antennas at Parkview Villa. We have another 7 years of that revenue that could also serve to contribute more to capital improvement funds. Beyond that, we want to increase capacity in the ramp with area users and generate revenue from other large users. And I think all in, staff are comfortable that this was a fair landing spot by these metrics. When we look at previous agreements that came before the most recent 5-year agreement, like for example, the agreement from 2003 to 2012 actually had the city covering all of the operations and maintenance costs and paying them an annual fee of $2,000 just for the maintenance of all of those contracted services. So there was, it's considerably better than it has been.
So, then if I understand correctly, the increase, it's a 10% increase for that 5-year period, so it would go to $22 for 5 years, and then increase another 10%, so that'd be like 24, 25. But after that, once we get the parking ramp in shape, so it can actually, and hopefully more usage, if we get downtown, livened up a bit, then I would strongly suggest that we increase at least to 30, a month, or 40 if people are using it for parking. Because, so it helps cost to cover, covers the cost of maintaining that, because over 600, that's not cheap. So, anyway, okay, that's what I needed to know, thank you.
Right. Anybody else have any questions or comments regarding this? Thank you, Erin. Can I get a motion to waive the reading, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Buesgens, a second by Councilmember Nowinski. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion to approve, please.
Move to approve resolution number 2020-47, a resolution approving parking stall lease agreement with Fairview Health Services and related amendments to the 2020 budget.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Buesgens, second by Councilmember Mergen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And the next item is the resolution advising and encouraging support for reopening of businesses and places of worship who will follow requirements on social distancing and safety and follow state, local, and CDC guidelines regarding COVID-19. And what are your questions regarding this?
I don't have a question, I just, I support Governor Walz and how he's doing it right now. I understand this is an extremely difficult time for people in their jobs and working and not making the money they used to, but I also understand it's extremely difficult for people who have relatives and family and friends getting seriously ill from this virus. So I don't support this resolution as it stands. I support what Governor Walz and what 3/4 of Americans right now support, is that we do it smart and we do it gradual like we've been doing it, so that 1, people can stay safe, and 2, that we can keep the beds in the hospitals, the room there available for folks when they do get sick. So I just wanted to state that, and you'll need to do a roll call.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments regarding this? This is not exactly the way Anoka County, this is not exactly what Anoka County has passed. We had taken it and made it our own. We did not agree to everything that they said. But,
And I read the number 1, and I read this one, so I understand.
do you want to say something?
No, I was just going to confirm that the Norfolk County one had some reference to law enforcement, which were removed in enforcement of, or non-enforcement of the governor's executive orders, and then reference to the Constitution, which we also removed. And also this was drafted prior to the governor's,
Correct.
well, most of the text was drafted prior to the governor's current executive order, and then we changed a little bit based on the executive order that is allowing for the outside dining and some of those loosening of the restrictions as well.
I was pleased to find out that Public Works had dropped off a picnic table for places like Romans, and I thought that was encouraging to see.
Yeah,
You didn't hear about that?
I didn't, and I didn't know about that, and Kevin was
Okay.
jumping into it, so.
Okay, because they said, yeah, Public Works just dropped off a picnic table for us.
Was that you?
Well, I dropped one off too for him, so.
Okay.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, they said Public Works.
He has two of them out front now, so.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, we have several restaurants that do not have patio spaces, so it is a definite hardship for them. And so, I'm glad to see that the citizens and the staff are behind them because they need some help in this situation.
And that is something that staff have been discussing since the new order. Many of our restaurants and bars do have their own property that they can either have current patios that they can use or at least have areas outside that they can use for that external dining, which is great. And we have an administrative permitting process for that, but our permitting process is for a 30-day period. So we will likely be bringing an emergency ordinance to the council to the upcoming meeting to extend that 30-day period so that we can at least keep that going until it's safe for people to dine inside. We also are looking at changes that potentially need to be made to liquor licensing if there is that outside service to make sure that they can continue whatever business that they would have done inside previously.
I was under the impression that if they had a liquor license, it would extend to this new patio space. Is that not correct?
Okay, possibly. So some liquor licenses, they do incorporate if it's an existing patio space, it would likely incorporate that space. Some though, if they're establishing new spaces outside in their parking lot, it may not. So staff is going through and trying to figure that part out, and we will get answers for you as soon as we know them. And we're working with the city attorney on that as well. We want our businesses to begin to be able to operate right away on June 1 in the manner that the governor has outlined, and we'll do whatever we can to.
I am excited to see what's happening over at the VFW. Councilman Buesgens has been busy over there doing a lot of remodeling. If you want to talk about
He has
that.
surprised everybody, that's all I'm saying. Not letting the cat out of the bag.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Can't even show pictures? No pictures?
But you can see, I mean, they have a amazingly nice parking lot now that you don't want to punch holes in to put up a tent, so.
That's for sure. That wasn't cheap.
Yeah, just from the outside, it's looking wonderful. I think, great job over there. And I know there's other places that are doing that too. Something, probably not as extensive as the VFW, but.
It's been nice to see people have taken this as an opportunity
Yes.
to do improvements that they can't do when there's customers inside. So that's been great to see.
It is,
Yep.
it is.
Just gotta give credit to Bruce Hoover, he's the one who was helping me with most of this in Terry, so
Okay.
it wasn't just all me, it was.
Wonderful. And I've talked to some of the pastors too in the area, and not all of them are in favor of starting services, opening up to services yet. Actually, my next door neighbor who is a pastor, he said they had made plans to do outside small groups, and they said even this coming Sunday they're going to continue with that, and just think it's actually might be a better situation than having to sit so far apart inside a building and limit it to the number of people, but have several small groups scattered throughout the community and do it that way. Try it that way and see how it works first, and not actually meeting in the building. So that was an interesting comment from a pastor.
I mean, I just think that, things are rolling along, like you said, the resolution that we did some changes, but I still don't feel comfortable pushing our governor, who's doing, I think, a wonderful job in a hard and difficult time, because he's got pressure from all different sides when people are hurting. But I still would rather follow his judgment because he bases it on science and data, and I trust him. I don't want to push it faster than what the scientists and the data tells him to do. So I mean, hopefully by the middle of summer, we can open up a lot of stuff so that pressure eases off of folks. But for now, there's too many unknowns.
I think this resolution actually has been it's actually more in support of the businesses, more in support of their needs. This is not necessarily saying what the governor is doing is bad. It's just saying we need to also support our local businesses, and that is a key thing here. All right, can I get a roll call, please, for this?
We need to wait
I
the
need-
reading.
Yeah, we need to, I'm sorry. Thank you. Let's waive the reading, please. Someone, motion to waive the reading, please.
Move to waive the reading of resolution 2020-48, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nowinski, second by Councilmember Mergen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, for reading.
All right.
Yeah.
Then, motion to adopt, please.
Move to adopt resolution number 2020-48, being a resolution advising and encouraging support for reopening of businesses and places of worship who follow requirements on social distancing and safety and follow state, local, and CDC guidelines regarding COVID-19.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nowinski, second by Councilmember Mergen. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Buesgens,
No.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Mergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Nowinski.
Yes.
That passes, thank you.
Passes.
Moving on to items for consideration, we have one item under letter C, new businesses and reports. It's considerations of appointments to advisory commissions. And we did several interviews over the last couple of weeks, some by Zoom and some by, we did some by phone too. And some in person, and thank everybody that came out and took part in that. It's exciting to see that many residents that are wanting to be part of this process. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so outlined below in the council letter is a list of recommendations based on your discussion after the interviews were conducted. The one thing I will note is that under the Park and Recreation Commission, after a poll of the council, the majority would like Tom Greenhall to be in the 5-year term, and then the other two, Becky Grosset and Rachel James, to have 2-year terms. So I just add that to the recommendations.
So, just since we haven't had a chance to talk about it, Tom's, and if I understand correctly, Tom's already been on the commission for 20 years, correct?
17.
17, so he's been on there a lot longer. I would think to put a new person in the 5-year and him in the 2-year, since he's already been on there for 17 years, I would think would be fairer. So I don't understand the reasoning. Do you have the rationale for that?
Mine was that the other two, Becky and Rachel, will be new to it, and in 2 years they'll know if they want to reapply again and then go for the 5-year. Tom, I mean, we don't know if they're gonna like being on the Park and Rec. I assume that they will, and I assume that will be great, but I just chose Tom for the 5-year.
I prefer a new person, but I'm overruled.
We have 2 new people on the Park and Rec.
Correct. Also take in mind that it is gonna be one of the items that is gonna be under consideration for changing the term limits. So, the 2-year terms, it looks like we're gonna be, at least the talk was to change it to make it consistent across the board, that every term limit would have the same amount, 5 years or 4 years, whatever you guys decided to do. That is one of the things to discuss, so.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Do you wanna read through them? Cause people don't have this
Yeah,
information in front of them. That would be nice.
Yep, so for traffic commission, single vacancy, it's recommended that Jared Winkelson is for a 4-year term. That would expire April 1st, 2024. For the library board, it's recommended to appoint Teresa Eisenweiss for a 3-year term, expiring April 1st, 2023. Planning commission, there was 2 openings. It's recommended to appoint Mike Nowitzki and Mark Vargas, both for 4-year terms ending April 1st, 2024. Park and Recreation Commission, 3 openings. It's recommended to appoint Tom Greenhall for a 5-year term ending April 1st, 2025. And for the 2 2-year terms, Becky Groseth and Rachel James. And those terms would expire April 1st, 2022.
Right. Can we, can I have a motion to appoint volunteers to serve on the various commission as recommended?
Go ahead. Move to appoint volunteers to serve on various commissions as recommended.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Buesgens, second by Councilmember Nowitzki. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, next item is the report from the city council. Teresa?
Not a whole lot to report. Distance learning is wrapping up for the year, so the school, once again, thank you for all the hard work that the school and all those involved have done. We'll be dropping off our Chromebooks tomorrow, I believe, so really other than that, just people stay home and get some projects done so when we can get out and get things going again, we don't have any to-do lists left to do.
Nice.
I have nothing.
You're all done?
I'm all done.
You're all done with the VFW? All right, thank you. Councilmember Williams?
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone in the city and the whole state for really recognizing what's going on in our country. And I've been through many viruses in my life. My brother had a polio at one time, and I remember he had her lung, I was a little boy, and that was a virus. And this trust that we get a vaccine for that virus that I believe came from China. And maybe intentionally, maybe not. But anyway, I just thank everyone in the city for being alert and aware, being cautious.
Thank you. Councilmember Buesgens?
Not much going on right now, just working on the art and gardens and helping my uncle, and we'll be working some more Lomiaki. And I want to thank Public Works for giving us a biffy over there, so we don't have to try to find a restaurant that's open that we can use the bathroom, so that's gonna help us a lot, but it's coming along really well, so. Other than that, it's been quiet.
Oh, that's good. All right, I just want to thank everybody for their cooperation. It's looking a little dark out there, so I'm hoping we end our meeting soon. But it's been, the busiest part is the Zoom meetings. I had several Zoom meetings with the League of Minnesota Cities. I actually have 2 scheduled for tomorrow and then another meeting with the White House tomorrow, so it's interesting day. And emails, I am in and out of the office. If you do call, just please leave a message. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Might not be able to get back to you that day or even the next day, but as soon as I'm back in the office sometimes. Try to be respectful of space here too. City manager, Connie, do you have anything for us?
Just a couple things. First, I need to get a sense from the council on audit presentation. That should be happening at the next council meeting. And Dave Moll, our audit preparer, has had various responses from cities. Some councils have just accepted the report without any presentation, and they're fine with that. Others have taken a short presentation or received the report, sent questions into him, and then received those responses prior to the meeting. And others have had Dave come in and do a full presentation as he normally would do. So is there any feedback from the council? Would you still like a presentation from him? Or would you rather do do an abbreviated version this year.
I would, I guess, like the shortened one with being able to ask questions and then send them in before you. And if we need a presentation, but
Okay.
if I remember, they do a pretty good job with the PowerPoint and most of the info will be laid out.
Yeah, same here, short, sending questions and, I mean, I'm open to just getting the report too, depending on whatever else.
Oh yeah, if we get it, no questions, then we can.
Yeah.
Sure, okay. So we'll get the report out to you, it'll be in a PDF, an electronic PDF format.
Okay.
If you would like it printed, please let me know, and we will get it printed for you. If you receive your packets by paper, we'll make sure to get you a paper copy, for sure. Otherwise, just a PDF will be emailed out to the group. And yep.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, and then the only other piece I have is, we are planning to generally open to the public, most of our public spaces in a limited capacity of restricting numbers and making sure we have safety measures in place starting next Monday, June 1st. But I know there was a question about the library. That will not be opening to the public, as normal library operations will not be opening to the public June 1st. They're still working out, trying to do a form of reservation system for the computers, and then continuing curbside. And then we will continue to monitor with Anoka County, Hennepin County, and the other library systems and open as they do, so that we're being consistent with our neighbors. So just, I know that question had come up. And then newsletters went out, so hopefully everyone's received those. And then we are keeping updates on openings and requirements and things like that on our website, so be sure to check that. And if possible, if you can do business by phone or email, we would still prefer we do that, at least for this time being. But at least we'll be open.
Are we opening the city hall then, to people coming in to pay their bills and things like that then?
We will be, so we're establishing some other safety measures. Community development will have a barrier at their desk. We already have that with our lobby space. We'll be limiting the number of people allowed in the lobby space. We are asking for electronic payments when at all possible to try and limit that touching of money and the transfer of money. But again, if you want to pay by our web store or by telephone, we certainly would still encourage that. But we are going to start being open back up to the public. All right,
That's
all.
good.
Thank you.
We have an attorney.
Wow.
Greetings,
folks.
Hello there.
I don't have
Welcome
any,
back.
I don't have any report unless there's any questions.
You've got us all excited up here, like, what's going on?
Or nervous.
Yeah. More excitement over here.
I'd like to, if it's not inappropriate, if we could remind people filing, because filing is open for campaign. Nicole, people give us dates and hours and how they pay.
Yeah. So candidate filing is currently open, it's been open since May 19th. It will be open during business hours until Tuesday, June 2nd, actually until 5 p.m. that day. Right now, with the doors not being open to City Hall, I've been just mostly taking calls and trying to set up a time to make sure that I'm available to let people in to do filing. So that's,
Okay.
yep, and it's a $15 filing fee.
All right. And you do not take credit cards?
We have not been, I have not been taking credit cards, that may change, but as of right now, if they would like to do credit cards over the phone, we can do that, but not with the walk-in.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. That's it then. Could we get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Nowinski, second by Councilmember Merschman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.